I want to tell you a quick story about this man. His name is Walt Travis. In 1901, he is an office manager in New York. He's about 40 years old. He's a self-taught golfer. In fact, he was nicknamed the Old Man because he only took up golfing at the age of 35. And looking at him, he doesn't really look like the kind of guy who's going to revolutionize golf. But yet, as he was teeing up for the 1901 US Amateur Championship, he was about to do just that. And the reason for it is, he was going to use a new type of golf ball, a ball called the Haskell. Now, this isn't that kind of ball. We'll talk about this in just a moment. But to understand why this was an important moment, you have to know that up until that point, most golfers were using a ball called the Gutty, a ball made from tree sap, whereas the Haskell was a new kind of ball. It had a rubber core with tension thread on the inside, which meant that it went much further. But despite this, no one was using it, except, of course, Walter Travis during the US Amateur Championship. And he goes on to win that championship. And then a very curious thing happens. Within 2 years, the Gutty, the most popular ball at the time, is dead. In today's world, we want people to adopt new technologies and ideas as quickly as possible in the name of innovation and for the sake of relevance. But I think that often this cry for relevance has a bit of a framing problem. And the problem is that we focus so much of our effort on appealing to external motivators like relevance instead of appealing to people's internal desires and motivations. When Walter Travis teed up with a new ball, it wasn't because he simply wanted to be relevant. It was because he deeply and intensely cared about improving and advancing his own game. He wanted to win. He had an inner motivation and drive to be better. And so this was innovation for the sake of self-progress, selfish innovation. You see, our approach to improvement in any endeavor that we care about can be broken down into two different paths. One we'll call the skills-only path. The skills-only approach is purest. The mantra for people who believe in this approach is practice makes perfect. And so you refine and you drill and you refine and you drill until you can refine and drill no more. You squeeze every single ounce of effort that you can out of practice. But the skills plus approach knows that, yes, practice makes perfect, but it can be enhanced by using external tools. In sports today, this seems obvious. Roger Federer used a nano-enhanced racket to win many of his tournaments in the early 2000s. Between 2008 and 2009, 130 swimming records were broken because of high-tech swimming gear being released. Golf club manufacturers like Callaway and TaylorMade bring out new clubs every year that now include components that are space-grade, like carbon fiber and graphite. And guess what? Adoption of these new technologies is effortless. Why? Because when people deeply care about improving their game, they'll try out the new thing. And this perhaps provides a useful frame for us when thinking about adoption of technologies in our teams and our organizations. What if instead of appealing to relevance, we appealed to potential? What's quite fascinating is that once Walter Travis won with a new ball, adoption was effortless. The floodgates opened, and within 2 years, everyone was using the new ball. And the question that you might have is, well, what would have happened if he didn't win? Now, there's no doubt in my mind that the Haskell's time would have come regardless of what happened. Progress can't be stopped. But there's also no doubt in my mind that his performance on the course was the catalyst for the adoption that we saw over the next 2 years. In fact, a very similar and remarkable thing happened about 100 years later. So fast forward to the year 2000 and a new ball again arrives on the scene. A radical departure from the rubber-wound ball that we had before. This time, a solid core ball wrapped in a urethane cover. Now, Tiger Woods, the god of golf, put the solid core ball into play at a tournament in Germany in May of 2000 and won. But then a few weeks later, at the US Open, he demolished the field as well. And this again catalyzed the demand for this new type of ball. Later that year, Titleist launched their own solid core ball called the Pro V1. They launched it at a tournament in Las Vegas, and within the week, 47 golfers on that field switched to the new Pro V1. Billy Andrade won the tournament using this ball, and of course, fascinating, a year later, At the next Masters, only 4 players were not using a solid core ball. Within a year, the rubber-wound golf ball was extinct. Neither Travis nor Tiger set out to revolutionize golf. All they wanted to do was to use what was available to them to be the best that they can be. But it just so happened that in the pursuit of performance and to fulfill their potential, there was an interesting byproduct created, which is that when we see people that we know, like, and trust win using the new thing, then we are more likely to try the new thing too. And again, this provides an interesting perspective for those trying to accelerate adoption in organizations. People are not won over by data and slideshows. They are not persuaded by the threat of irrelevance. Instead, they want to see people win using the new thing. Our brains are wired to be suspicious of innovation. We prefer routine over novelty. But we are also wired to pick up on the success of others. In the golfing fraternity, Walter Travis was dubbed the old man because he only took up golfing at the age of 35. But he was a constant and relentless tinkerer and improver of things. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson here. When we become tinkerers and improvers, then it's much less about yielding to the external pressures of change and much more about the self-propelled exploration of what is possible.